Yeah. Crazy, dude. The most sexual thing I've ever heard. I mean, I might have to cut it out just for YouTube. That was crazy. Hello and welcome to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we review the first volume of a brand new manga each week. It's our part 3 East Blue Done Piece review. My name is Josh Pinwheel Michaels, and today, as always, I am joined by
Megan Tangerine Farine.
Ooh, I like it.
That was Cody Smokey Decker.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, no, hold on. Cody D. Ecker.
Oh, yeah, so many comments about that, dude.
Uh-huh.
Is there something you need to tell us about your real name?
It's been changed over the years. But I go by many names. Cody D. Ecker, Co D. Ecker.
Cody's nuts.
Cody Ucky.
Never heard that one. Thank
Like
you for tuning in to another episode of Volume 1. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we're covering today volumes 10 through 12 of One Piece, chapters 82 through 100. We have arranged it this way so that we have more time at the end of the video and the review and the discussion to address some of your comments, your corrections that you've left on some of our previous videos. I went through, I found some good ones. All of them were good, by the way, but I found some that really, made me go, huh? And we'll be reading those at the very end of the episode. But for now, and as always, there will be chapters where you can click ahead to any part of the episode that you like. But as for now, we should pick up where we left off, which was, really right before things started to go down in Arlong Park with the straw hats. I mean, Yosuke and Johnny are like guarding the gate to keep the civilians or the villagers from getting in to interfere. And it's about to go down in a big way. And we finally, it finally feels like we got the gang together. Mm-hmm. And this mustache is not going to last the whole episode.
It's hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, and I just want to say up top real quick, too, the reason that I chose to cosplay as this character is because he was a standout for me. Genzo is a standout. And, it just goes to show you that even though Oda might have, what appears on the surface to be silly, fun character design, there is purpose and there's
payoff.
Heart and payoff
At the end. I was like, no, he did it again.
Yeah,
Damn,
I love
Oda.
I love it.
Oh.
So the gang shows up. They're ready to mess things up. And one thing that I really love here about this fight, and just now that the gang's all together, is just Oda's the poses, the dynamic sort of Zoro and the way that he carries himself, and Sanji and the way that he carries himself, and the way that they carry themselves together. There's just something very badass about that.
It's super badass. And even the dialogue between them, you could tell they're more comfortable now. They trust each other. So, at one point, Usopp's like, oh, I'll give me the rest that you don't take care of. And then Zoro's like, oh, how thoughtful of you, Usopp, because he just knows that he's not going to try to beat anyone up. Yeah. And they're all friendly now. And
they have a dynamic.
Cool. Yeah.
It was cool seeing Luffy be, serious. Yeah. I started to warm up to his character at this point now, which is it took a while for me.
Yeah, it does take a while. And there were some comments in your defense that said that they agreed, or at least, saw where you were coming from, because we really don't get that first peek into, the type of person and what he's willing to do for his friends and how far he'll go for them until really this arc. And so there were people on your side, dude.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Surprisingly. The sea cow makes an appearance again.
There we go. Momu?
I think so.
Yeah, Momu. Yet again crying.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's so afraid of them because of what they did on their way over there.
Oh, poor baby. Just being used for war.
It's hilarious, though, the way that the face is drawn and how scared and terrified this huge monster is, trembling.
I think also, I finally understand how you're supposed to view it as just absurd stuff happening when they get to the point where Luffy is thrown underwater and then someone dives under Naomi's sister. She goes too, and she's just is holding his head in her lap. Well, and it's that goes on for what I at least is an hour like of combat and stuff, and they're like how they're like doing CPR on him like underwater. And it finally like now I like get the mood where I'm like, all right, I'm not supposed to be like, you can't.
Well, I mean, I think time was passing a lot faster in the fight, but in like reality, he is underwater MIA for a full volume. A full volume. He is underwater.
So I was like, all right, I guess I get it, because they're just like, and the fact that they're just sitting there like with their cheeks puffed up, like they're holding their breath.
They're like going in shifts. Like she'll go down for a little while, then she'll come up. And Genzo was the one that was going down there at first, and then he's like, I can't, like my lungs can't take it anymore.
Because I saw them both there at the same time.
Well, they both go down. So Luffy gets his feet stuck to beat the sea cow. He like, he plants his feet in this concrete and uses it to hold himself in place as he like reaches out and twists himself to grab the sea cow and spin it in a sort of tornado to wipe everybody out. And once the other fishmen come to get him, he can't get his feet out. And so Arlong picks up the concrete that he's in, and he would sink anyway, which is what Arlong says, but throws him down into their pool.
Yeah, I mean,
or the ocean.
Anyone would drown in that situation, but he's like, and you're gonna extra drown.
Yeah, he's like, not only do you have your famous weakness, but you're in concrete.
Yeah.
Have fun.
So when they see that happen, like that's where like it's a cool moment where, Zoro and Sanji team up and they both say like, okay, we got like 5 minutes max. So I'm going to take this guy, you take that guy.
Meanwhile, Zoro's still just bleeding out from his last
from
endeavor.
The Mihawk thing.
Jesus.
Which we get to see later. And that was like, for One Piece especially, at least up until this point, super intense.
Yeah.
I also like the intro shots because it was Buggy previously, and now it's of that guy.
Helmeppo and Kobe,
Kobe. I was so happy to see him again. He's just working, doing his due diligence, trying to get to the top. I was like, you go, boy.
I like the realism of like, so what did he do when he went to go join to be the world's best Navy guy? And he's just like working.
Chore boy.
Yeah, chore. It tells over the course of these volumes, it tells a whole story. Like he's a chore boy, and then him and Helmeppo are basically in charge of like transporting Captain Morgan, their Helmeppo's dad, and then he breaks free, takes Helmeppo as a hostage, and Kobe stands in front of a cannon. I mean, it's a cool way of like, because you're gonna deal, especially as the series goes on, with so many characters. You can't keep up with all of them, and in order to like remember them and for their stories to keep progressing, it's such a cool way to just on each chapter cover page to just tell you follow a certain group. And because that, to my knowledge, is all canon in the series.
And it worked for that kind of story too, because it was like, not much was really happening. Like, he's working at it, you see him like still working, and then something's happened, and then like you get the whole story, but it's like, it wouldn't have worked if it was actually like told like page by page in like full chapters.
Because it's really, not enough. I don't think it's not like compared to what's happening here. It's something that I don't think people would find super interesting.
I like the contrast too in the beginning when they were just doing chore work.
Yeah.
Of like, and then he's like, and I'm also the biggest shark man. And then they're like, they have to like clean floors now. And they're
he's studying. Everyone else is asleep. Yeah. And the next page is like, you're dead. It's a little nice refresher, a little nice breather.
And I do miss Kobe too.
I know.
I miss him.
I don't miss.
Oh yeah, the other guy.
The guy who got kidnapped.
No, I said the other
Helmeppo guy. If that is his real name.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, you don't miss Cody?
You can't
He's
miss
right
me.
Next to you.
Record so much.
Very true.
That's why she doesn't miss you.
We record each week. Yeah.
Multiple times a week. So that's the little side story that's happening, and it's always fun to check in on some of these characters. But Luffy gets stuck thrown in the water.
Don't ever say you don't miss me.
Cody,
at least she's, at least you're present, in her mind at all. And you should just be grateful for that, dude. That you even pop up in there to not be missed.
That someone could actively think of. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. That I do appear. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, good thing I don't miss them.
Yeah.
I'm glad hilarious.
Glad I could help.
Yeah.
Glad I could help you
really
guys.
Funny.
I'm a relationship counselor now.
Smell like shrimp.
It's One Piece, dude. Fishman, dude. She's committing.
Sorry.
What do you want her to smell like?
I'm impressed.
Yeah, she's
Maybe it's the coffee.
She's dedicated, man.
Maybe
So it's funny because like they both get separated, and like Zoro has to deal with Hachi, and then Sanji has to deal with the other guy.
Yeah.
And
it's intense as hell.
that's why I say I think time's moving faster because they both say they got 5 minutes. And so
This
this
is
happening
probably
over.
the biggest instance of anime time I've ever experienced.
Yeah. But then again, they do say at a certain point that they're running out of time. That they're taking way longer than they want to, which is why at a certain point Sanji looks at Zoro and he's like, "Would you agree that he's probably out of breath right now?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Then you can't judge me for doing this," because they're avoiding jumping in the water because they know that the fishmen are going to be way stronger.
That's what they want.
Yeah,
That's what they're waiting
in the
for.
water.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, meanwhile, Nojiko and Genzo are like, because they can't really do anything against the fishermen, so they have to go save Luffy. That's when they both dive down to the bottom.
And I love that dialogue that they have. Like they can't talk, but they're like the
Oh,
bubbles
yeah,
are having like a full conversation. Like
Yeah.
we have to get him out of here, but we can't right now.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I did think about that later when Sanji was down there and he was like talking. But through my thought, but I know he wasn't communicating. I know it's just there for the reader, but it was a moment where I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
it was
funny.
like their nods are communicating this.
Yeah.
And they like,
Yeah.
Or even if they're mouthing, like,
Yeah.
I was like, you can talk underwater,
but it's like,
Yeah, but then you risk, losing air.
but I don't think but it's like I don't think that's really an issue for anyone.
It is, Cody.
I mean, I don't even have a problem with it. That's how
Right.
because anytime if I play a game or like watch a movie where someone like dives underwater, I like hold my breath, and it's like I can never it's like I know that some people can hold their breath for like 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like I think I can do it for 30 seconds, but it was like I mean they're like doing like backflips and getting like gut punched and like gasping all the air out,
Yeah.
and I'm like I don't know if I'm even supposed to like view it as like suspenseful.
Well, I mean, again, there are some comments that I want to get to at the very end, and they address some of these things. So I'm interested to hear what you think after.
I was like, H2, yo, kick some ass.
Yo, that
I
was.
thought it was gonna be H2 like YOLO or something.
Oh,
I mean, they're both. To be honest, can I be honest with you guys? They're both really bad.
Okay, but
yeah. But like really bad. Yeah.
did we? Something about like taking dives.
All right,
I
you
think
got
you're
nothing.
drowning
You got
in
nothing.
doubt.
Megan,
Just in general
this
about
is
your
the
life.
finale
Yes.
of the East Blue. Let's turn it up a notch. Anyway, so yeah,
I liked it.
So
Thank you. Fuck.
they're fighting and what I love is they both get like knocked out kind of initially right away. Like Zoro gets kind of knocked out and then Sanji gets like kicked way out of the gate. But again, back to these like dynamic poses and how to express character in a couple of actions. You get Sanji laying there. I can't wear this mustache anymore. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Whoa,
guys,
Whoa.
I'm
I
not
thought
the
you
real-
brought the mustache back.
I'm not
Where's
the real
Josh?
Genzo. I'm not the
Who
real
the
Genzo.
hell are you?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Nah. I mean, that's why I
You're
asked.
just asking to be polite.
Yeah.
It's
I
going to
just-
come back when we get to my favorite part. I'm going to try to see if it remains sticky enough
Mhm.
to put on and if it needs some help, might have to cut the cameras. But yeah, it's a really cool way to show characters through their actions because Sanji's laying there on his back after he got kicked super hard through stone walls and he's just on his back and he decides to light a cigarette and I was like, God damn, that was the sexiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I like because I talked about how like I'm unclear on like physical damages after that water breathing scene. I totally just like checked out of like holding it up to
Why
like,
can't
scrutiny.
you admit that they can't hold their breath? I mean, because
No, like I'm not saying this as a negative.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying that like that made me like genuinely in a good way understand the mood that I'm supposed to be in watching this.
But okay, and I'm just glad that you're like accepting of it, and I'm not trying to like stoke the flame. But I mean, I feel like they were pretty adamant about saying that they had only been underwater for a couple minutes, and yeah, they were getting the shit beat out of them.
Because it's like it's the thing, like even like as long as you don't do anything, it would be like. But I'm just like, all right, I'm checking out because and then Sanji gets like knocked through concrete. And I'm like, sure, I'm not gonna hold this up to any like real scrutiny anymore.
You could say Sanji blew him to death.
What? I mean, what?
You know, Megan, you could say that. I would follow up with what?
Yeah, I would follow up with come again.
You're like, okay, it's a joke. It's fine.
He blew him to death.
Because he blew the holes.
Oh, wow.
The gills.
Oh, right. I mean, that happens a little later, but
no, it's right around this time, right? When he's underwater?
Well, I mean, this is before he even jumps in the water.
Yeah.
But you just really
I
wanted
will
to
say that would have been great if you did
No, it wouldn't have.
You just had people blowing fishmen on the mind, I guess.
Yeah, because you like if you gave it the
Well,
setup.
you said Sanji was hot, and I was like, oh, I remember that scene.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay, just cut that out. We'll go to that
I'll
scene.
cut it out and I'll put
then
it. I'll
we'll
move
do
it
it
over there.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah,
Because it's like, so Sanji got kicked through walls. You could say he blew him to death.
Yeah. Crazy, dude. The most sexual thing I've ever heard. I mean, I might have to cut it out just for YouTube. That was crazy.
You guys are breaking the fourth wall right now.
What?
Megan.
I'm just grasping for straws here,
Straw
okay?
hats. You're grasping
Grasping
for
straw
Thank
hat.
you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I said it first.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That was
So, cool moment. Sanji lights a cigarette on his back. I loved it. Usopp, meanwhile, this whole time, is running away.
This is where I'm liking Usopp more and more.
Oh my God.
Because like for me, it is very like the joke for me is becoming that like he abides by like human rules.
Yeah.
Where everyone else doesn't. So like it is funny how he like really can't take much damage and he like when it's a one-on-one fight, he has to like approach it tactically.
Yeah. I will strongly agree with that.
Cool.
I really
First rules.
First time this episode. Maybe this whole podcast.
Yeah.
His scenes hit hard for me.
Yeah.
And he, like his realization scene of him like wondering like, okay, I'm just gonna lie and say this, that, or whatever when he runs away and like is having that fight. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's very good. And I think that's why he's so easy to relate to. And he has a really cool moment. I mean, as far as like standout moments, I think obviously Luffy gets one, Genzo gets one, and Usopp kind of really gets one
and
too.
I think like this is why I prefer characters to be more grounded because like when he gets his moment, I was like really rooting for it more.
I know.
When Luffy does, I'm like, I mean, I don't think you were ever in danger. But with Usopp, he was.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. They get pretty wrecked this arc, though, I think, more than they have previously. And they seem to be, maybe not Luffy, but some of them. Zoro
and Usopp were the highlights of this whole fight for me because I felt that there was like a risk. The others, I was just like, I guess I'm just supposed to enjoy the fact, just that is a cool kick.
Yeah. But it's around that time, too, that then Nojiko and Genzo try to help Luffy, and they come up with this brilliant plan. And their plan is to, because they can't get him out of the water, he's too heavy, to just pull his head and stretch his neck all the way out of the water, which was like super smart. And for stretching abilities was a clever way to get around that problem.
This is just a clarifying question. Can he stretch while underwater? Or
yeah. They don't lose their abilities. But they do, obviously, they can't swim. They lose the ability to swim.
Like, consciously, can he, like, did she do that, or did he think of it?
I think she did it because he was passed out.
Okay.
Yeah. But if he were conscious underwater, he could do it. They also say later on, too, they add a little bit more to it, or Arlong does, that you kind of lose your will to live, too. It's kind of, yeah.
I guess, what's the air version of the gum fruit? And then
I don't know. I was going to call you David Blaine, dude, because you're like, you know what I mean? You're like submerged. You lost your will to live. But it's a really cool moment and very clever. Very clever.
Very
that's
stretchy.
when Sanji jumps in the water.
That's when Sanji jumps and
now wait. And that's when Sanji jumps in the water.
And you could say
he sucks him off. Yeah. I am so sorry. I just want to take a second to apologize.
You said that.
Like sucker fish.
Don't even.
Yours is as bad as mine.
There was a guy who does that too.
Yeah,
you guys are. Why are you mixing? You have opportunities to do this.
You're right, Cody.
How does Sanji defeat the other guy?
He figures, they can't. If you blow into the gills, that'll disrupt their breathing. So that's what he does.
So what does he do?
He blows him to death.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh wow, I like that, Megan. That's pretty cool.
That's what he does, and then he comes back up.
I did.
No, he comes back up to the
So
top
yeah,
of
he
the water.
blows him
You
to death, and
guys-
then he comes up.
Okay, that
I
was
like
totally not a
it.
joke.
No, I like that one.
Oh, okay. Then I did.
Then it was yeah. I like that fight where he's applying like a oh, that is interesting and a clever way to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a really practical, tactical, logical way.
Practical, tactical, logical.
Yeah.
Practical, tactical, logical way.
Yeah, I'm working on an album, dude. This is like when Usopp gets his moment because Usopp is running away and this guy's chasing after him. And every time you think Usopp has a moment of cowardice, like when he initially runs away, the suckerfish starts to divert his attention to the villagers. And everybody thinks like, well, damn, Usopp just really left us here. And then he, shoots one of his, fire slingshot balls at him, balls of fire. And
Goodness gracious.
Exactly. And so he's kind of luring him to chase after him. He's baiting him to chase after him. And then he does. And he kind of gets beat a little bit, pretends to be dead. And then the suckerfish is walking away.
Using what, like ketchup packets he had for this exact situation.
Yeah.
I liked that.
It's fun.
Yeah, he plans around like looking more injured than he is so he can like do something else.
Yeah, it's pretty smart though.
God, yeah, that scene, it was so good when he's just hearing everyone else's thoughts on like how to be a fighter, or like fighting for your other people, and like just bringing yourself before other people, and he's bringing himself just for him, and then he realizes that, and he's just like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna back down.
Yeah.
And that was such a good moment. It made me tear up a little bit because he's really like coming into his own, like he's really putting the team before himself and trying to help out and not just lie about helping out by rubbing dirt all over him and being like, maybe they'll think that I did a good job.
Yeah.
And he's just growing. He's growing.
I like his struggle too of like feeling that he is not as useful.
Yeah.
And he's because he is like, I'm completely outmatched.
Well, what really I think is at the heart of this arc too is like
Part
because
of the arc.
intercut, he's like planning his lie while the story, while the panels are intercut with like people, the rest of the crew, saying how far they're willing to go, how hard they're willing to fight. And so what it's really kind of showing is how all of these people make each other stronger, make each other better. And Luffy even says that later. I mean, when Arlong says like, what a pathetic captain, he's like, you're right. I can't cook. I can't navigate. I can't do whatever. I can't lie. And Usopp's like, hey, what the fuck? And he's like, and I can't, but I can fight, and so it's just about how they all bring each other up. A rising tide floats all boats. Is that how that goes?
Yeah, whatever floats your boat.
Oh.
Thanks, Cody.
Root beer floats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
But that scene for Luffy for me was really, really good. Cody really liked that one. And then he ends up defeating him, and then this is where we see Nami again, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, back to the time thing. Sanji and Zoro, now that they've sort of, because again, we don't linger too much on the fights, but. Sanji obviously had to fight Hachi, and it was his 3-sword style versus his 6-sword style. And
Zoro?
Zoro and Hachi, the octopus guy. And, it was a very fun fight, and you definitely got to feel, Zoro's resilience and everything like that. But, not a whole lot to really unpack. They both get defeated.
It was mostly him dealing with the struggle of like each like strike I do is going to open a wound, like reopen this wound I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They both beat their respective sort of opponents, and then they have to distract Arlong long enough for like Genzo and Nojiko, who are down there, to like bring Luffy back. They have to, and they can't distract him for very long, and that's when Sanji goes like, you'd agree that, he's not going to make it, right? And Zoro's like, yeah. And he's like, then you're not going to judge me for what I have to do. And that's when he jumps in the water again, a second time, because they see this like fountain of water And Arlong's like, we don't have any fountains in
I
Arlong
know.
Park.
Why is that so far-fetched for you guys?
Yeah.
There's no fountains in Arlong Park.
Yeah.
How could this be? Like,
Yeah.
Why is
This
that?
is a shark man going like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, something's off. Why is that water coming out of the other water?
Yeah. And then that's when they realize what they have to do, but they're like beat to a pulp. And that's when, Nami shows up and has to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
The choice between joining Arlong's crew again, because he says that he'll spare the villagers, or and when he's making this deal, they're done. They're like passed out.
Yeah, they're literally on the floor. He's like has his foot on one of them.
Mm-hmm. And then she basically looks to the villagers and says that she has to believe in them. She has to fight. And it was a really sweet moment.
Mm-hmm.
So like everyone has like a theme for like fighting. What's Naomi's theme?
She's a navigator, and then what we'll see later, no spoilers, she uses her staff a lot. And then what we'll see later is maybe some upgrades to that. Possibly. And it's so funny too, because Usopp's not only killing it like in his with his emotional moments and in his like fight scenes, like you said, he's like very, he kind of uses whatever he has around him to use to his advantage, but also he's very, very funny. And so when he comes back after defeating one of the fishmen or his fishmen, he has this like trick with a rubber band where you hold it in front of somebody's face, and and everybody's natural reaction to having a rubber band held in their face is to like do this. And so he uses that moment where their eyes are closed to like,
he goes like, I'm going to use my ultimate destruction rubber band.
Yeah. And people are like,
and the guy goes like, he's like, you can't hurt me. There's nothing you do. Like, I'll pull out my secret weapon.
Yeah.
Oh,
because he uses it again when he gets back on Hachi, and you just see Hachi because Hachi gets back up, and Hachi's like, wait, what happened? And he's like, last thing I saw, someone was pointing a rubber band at me, and everybody was like shocked that it worked. And even Usopp was like, it worked.
Usopp rules.
He really does rule. That's when Sanji jumps back down there, and all he has to do is break the boulder. All he has to do is set him free, and everything's gonna be fine. But that's when Hachi jumps back down there. Zoro has this cool moment when Arlong's holding him up, and he's like, maybe if I wouldn't have moved so much, or maybe not moving so much would have kept these wounds close, or kept the wounds close. He's very vague about it, very specific.
And they
about
show it. They show his whole abdomen is just full of blood.
He looks like
There's
Frankenstein.
a scar. Yeah, those staples. It was like, Jesus Christ.
Like, it really does look like someone cannot survive that. I mean,
No.
he looks like two men stitched together. It's graphic. And then Arlong's like, is that some sort of joke? Is that your way of joking before you die? And he's like, no, I was talking about the other guy. And I guess going into the water like reopened Hachi's wounds, and he's not a threat to them. And so they break Luffy free. And
Finally.
He was like, oh, if he stayed still, the cuts I got on him wouldn't have opened up like that.
Yeah. And when Luffy's back, by the way, Luffy, like, he comes back and he's throwing everything at Arlong. He's throwing, his pistol, his Gatling gun, his bazooka. I mean, he's going all in, and none of it is doing anything.
And Arlong has an invincible nose.
He has an invincible nose, and
I like that little dialogue between him and Luffy. He's like, what do you say? We're similar or something, or like we're nothing alike. He's like, our noses.
Yeah.
Our chins, your webbed feet, and he's just like, oh, everyone's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I mean,
getting him.
Yeah, Arlong is I would even, go so far as to say like Arlong's kind of a hunk too,
I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there because he is evil and he's getting everyone a hard time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right, Megan? Back me up, dude.
I'm backing you up.
Thank you.
100%.
He's a little hunky. He's a little hunky.
I like
He's a little chompy.
The whole thing about fisherman superiority.
Yeah.
Which is weirdly common in media.
Yeah, what's funny is I don't think I said it in any of the previous episodes because it's really not that big of a deal, I don't think, because in other
then why bring it up?
in other cultures like what we know as like the swastika is reversed means something else. It has meant that for longer than the swastika has meant what it's meant. But in like one of the previous volumes, like one of the fishmen had like a swastika on him. Or the reverse of that.
An actual one or the
reverse of it.
Oh.
But then it is just interesting that they do have also this like superiority complex about them.
About them.
That's the
People.
connection that I'm making. Yeah. And of course, even in the manga, and yes, the Viz manga, we've been told, we've been made aware, is the worst translation ever made.
Ever made on this God-given earth.
But they were very careful to make a note of that, too. Like, it's not the swastika, but yes. Worst translation ever. Thank you guys for letting us know. Arlong also, like a lot of other sharks, can like regenerate his teeth. His teeth grow back, but they grow back super fast.
Oh, love that part too. Luffy just puts the teeth in his mouth and he's just smiling. They're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, everybody thinks he's just joking
around, which I mean, you would, yeah. You're like, okay, it's Luffy. You know, he's just
pretty smart plan.
Pretty smart.
Plan.
They fit perfect.
I mean, he's, you know, what's interesting is he is made of rubber, so
because he can stretch.
Yeah, you know, even if they were huge, he could make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It seems like it really doesn't do much, but
it gets like one in, I think.
Yeah.
I did like the thing of like, you know, the Arlong, like, first of all, he like takes out 2 sets of his teeth to like make teeth knuckles.
Nice.
But it was like, all right, yeah, like Luffy is vulnerable to stabbing.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that the villain is like approaching it. That
aware.
Kind of gave up the idea of throwing him back in water. But he is like, I'm gonna cut him.
Yeah, and he, that's another thing. You know, he gets chomped on, and you know, there was one panel where someone said that, oh, if Arlong gets his teeth into Luffy, and there's even a panel showing like what would happen and how his arm would be ripped to shreds.
I think it was his abdomen or something.
But then he gets bit.
But then he gets bit.
Nothing happens.
Yeah. And he gets injured, but I mean, he doesn't get, you know, chunks don't come out of him.
It'd be cool if he could expand that part of his muscle so that he takes off more of the rubber part and not so much his like bone.
I think, yeah, we have to figure out what's exactly rubber about him, though, because, like, obviously his muscles do have to be, therefore his skin does have to be.
His bones.
Therefore his bones do kind of have to be, right?
Yeah.
Therefore his heart.
Yeah.
And his soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, his soul has the properties of rubber and gum.
His rubber soul.
Yes.
Oh, like a shoe. Okay.
Yeah. And if the shoe fits, we can keep talking about it.
Okay. It fits. We can keep talking about it.
The Mr. Fantastic and the Ultimate Universe of Marvel, where they try to justify, because it's like, well, your organs would squish and stuff. So the answer is he's not even like, he doesn't have human anatomy anymore. He's just basically just made out of bacteria stacks.
Oh.
And that's why he can like stretch his stomach and it won't like his body is like it like completely changed to be like a different,
my God.
like he can stretch out his brain is still a thing and he can stretch it to like make himself smarter and stuff.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
But they try to like explain like how, like if someone stretches, there's so many, you know, things you can be like, well, what, yeah, like if his heart stretches, wouldn't his blood?
Right. I love Luffy. I love him.
I
really love him, but he's not really stretching his brain that much.
No, he's not. But this volume really solidified him.
He is stretching his heart though because of what happens later.
Yeah, he really came back. You know, he's not one of my top, but he's definitely better than what I had placed him at before, I think.
Yeah, and he does get some. You know, it was. You know, I'm obviously joking. We do get some really cool moves from him, like the shield that he makes with his hands, the net that he makes when he like weaves his fingers together. We do get some cool creative moves from him, but where the emotional peak of this is when they make it into because you know Arlong is doing his shark dart move. Shark dart. And that's when they get into the chart room, and that's the emotional, I think, climax.
The shark chart.
The shark dart chart room.
Yeah.
And you know, Luffy's in there looking around, and he can't really, you know, he doesn't really know where he's at first. And Arlong tells him like, these are the charts that Nami has made for me. She's talented. It'd be a waste for her talents to go to waste and everything. Like, you think you could use her any better?
And that's when he pops off. Use her.
Yeah.
And Nami's just like, just burn it all. Nami's just like, just fucking take it all away. Because she was just forced to make maps for this madman. And if she didn't, everyone would die.
I don't even think she feels like burn it all, take it all away. I think that Luffy takes it upon himself to do that. And when he starts, instead of like continuing to fight Arlong, when he realizes that someone, like how much someone has hurt his friend, he starts throwing these things out the window. And I think when she sees the desk and everything fly out, she is thanking Luffy because that is what was like, you know, a huge part of what was keeping her there. And a huge part of, you know, whatever the opposite of a treasure is, that was the opposite of her treasure.
Yeah. Yeah, those moments where he's like, I know this is a fake one. Why are you trying to deceive me? And she's just trying to use all of her little tactics to be like, fuck you, dude. And it just doesn't work. And she's just forced to do all that stuff. Poor Nami.
Yeah, he sees, Luffy sees blood on the pins and stuff like that. And, he had a moment where you realize that this is a person who will do whatever it takes to save a friend. Like, and it really, that's where his, like, I guess, like, power comes from, because it seems like he was kind of struggling with Arlong all this whole time. And when this happened, he sort of was able to dig deep, and, what he was fighting for seemed to come to the forefront of his mind, and he was able to, like, power up a little bit. Not necessarily, but I mean, he did fuck Arlong up after that. And it was a sweet moment. And he uses his foot to collapse the whole Arlong Park on top of both of them. And then Arlong's passed out, and Luffy emerges from the rubble like a gangster.
Something I liked was whenever he does get serious, the artist draws his muscles way more toned.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was a nice touch, where it's like he's like a noodle person, but then there'll be shots and you just see like every muscle like
he's
popping.
ripped.
Yeah.
And there's like more dramatic shading. Yeah, he's stretched. Yeah. There's more dramatic shading over his face, like his hat is casting like a dark shadow over him.
And that's when we get. I mean, I think a little bit before, but that's that whole speech where you mentioned before, like he can't do any of those things, so that's why he needed to build up his crew, and that's why we have this person to work out his flaws. And even Arlong's like, that was pretty cool. He's like admitting your, weaknesses. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I think he says like, he's like, on one hand, like, it's admirable that you're admitting or willing to admit your weakness. He's like, but on the other hand, like, how sad that these people have to have you as a captain. You know what I mean? And that's when he like.
So really, you'd rather have Arlong? Okay, Arlong, take a look in the mirror.
Yeah. And then he's also able to like snap his nose, and it's like, you realize that, I mean, I guess it's obvious, but you realize like it's just bone, like this strong bone, the way I don't know why I expected him to just like, I don't know, rip his nose off, but it like breaks in like a very like kind of gross way. I was like, God damn. Nobody else thought his nose was
like a swordfish, right?
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
thought it was maybe
bone.
I thought maybe it was going to crack off, like it was going to crack, But it like,
but
it stayed.
isn't that what you're explaining?
Yeah, what do you?
Well, no, like
crack and
because like
break?
if you take like a seashell,
I thought it was gonna crack, and instead it broke, and that threw me for a loop.
I'm looking forward to cracking up.
No, let me tell you, if you take a seashell, right, and you take a hammer to it, it cracks into pieces.
So,
but if you take a bone and you crack the bone, the skin is still like, keeps the angle of the crack. You know what I mean? I expected it to be like made of like whatever seashells are made of, but stronger, but really strong, but like really strong.
Bone.
No, seashells aren't made out of bone, Megan.
But you're saying-
what are they made out of?
Sea.
Wait, aren't they made out of bone? Aren't they bone from like the animal that the shell was from?
I don't know, Cody. I'm not a fucking marine biologist, dude.
It comes from the sea. They're made up of sea. Jesus.
I'm sorry.
No, it was very nice that you had that.
Some things just keep to myself, I guess. No, I knew it was bone.
Okay, you knew it was bone, so you knew it was gonna crack instead of I don't know what you were.
Instead of shatter.
If I had time to draw it out for you, I would.
You did.
But the show must go on.
You've painted us a picture.
Yeah.
Not a good enough one, I guess.
Yeah. Not going up in a gallery.
Captain Nezumi shows up, tries to take credit, and I thought for a split second that this guy was like, oh my God, we just got through this long fight, awesome fight, cool fight, but I thought like, now we got to get through this guy too. Like,
and now you'll fight the Navy crew.
Yeah.
And if you thought those guys were bad, we all ate some of the fruits.
Yeah. And Zoro just immediately like puts him out.
Hell yeah.
And so I'm so glad.
And they were like, because we can keep the gold now.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that they were gonna like get away with it.
Yeah, but once Zoro kind of puts him out, Nami tells him, which I'm not saying I would really trust them to do this, but she's like, no, the villagers are gonna get the money, and you're gonna help them. You're gonna help them rebuild everything, and you're gonna help them. You're gonna they're gonna actually do your job. And you're gonna stay here and
even for an absurdist story like this, I think that was a little bit of a stretch to expect them to
To expect the government
to do their job. I was like, all right, Jesus. Now you've gone. I gave so much leeway.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, so this is just a pure fantasy, anything can happen thing. Just what? So what? I mean, all right, I'll say.
I do like political Cody a lot.
I'm glad you do.
And he puts him out, and he says that they're gonna be there. And it's a funny moment because he gets so mad he runs back to his office and calls the Navy HQ, and now you guys know about the snails.
Yeah. There was a comment that was so funny. It was like, "You're so worried about snails, but there's a guy who could literally stretch." And I was like, "Fair point. No, you're right.
Also, that's not even what we said. You said snails, and we went like, "Oh, all right."
I can't remember.
You said snails have something to do with the messaging system.
And we were that could mean anything. Like, I have no idea.
I think you said that could mean anything. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, what is that too much? I didn't even say that.
I said, huh?
Yeah.
But
and now you see.
Yeah, now I see. Yeah, but I like how he was like, "You're going to pay for this." And they're like, yeah. And it's like, oh, no, they did. They did pay for it. Yeah. He was able to do that pretty easily.
Technology is the snails work as like speaker. Like they mimic the speech of what is projected into.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of like.
I like it. It's like conch shells.
Okay.
Okay.
You can hear the ocean in them?
No, there's
they mimic the sound of the ocean?
You know, like SpongeBob, that episode where it talks?
Oh, yeah.
I was more on board for the other.
The Arlong nose shell?
Oh, no, not that.
Not that. Don't bring that back. Don't bring that back.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was, you see the snails, like, even if you yell louder. And it looked like those Morse code machines, like in the back that the snail's attached to.
Yeah.
I was like, I would love if that's not explained at all. Honestly, I would love if they just no one asks about it, and that's just a part of that world.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be explained. It's perfect the way it is.
No, I'm like, oh yeah, the speakers with the snail.
Got it.
And then we get a touching conclusion to this whole Arlong Park arc, and I sound like a seal when I say that. The Arlong Park arc.
Yeah, they're dancing.
Yeah,
they're
you look
celebrating.
like a fucking puffer fish.
Dangerous.
Puffy. And it's beautiful, Nami's at Belmir's grave, and we do have some comments about Belmir and the meaning of her name and everything like that, and that it, means stepmother, I guess, or mother-in-law or stepmother, and,
godmother.
Yeah. And it's just a beautiful moment where she's sort of talking to her, and she's just kind of just updating her on everything, and it's really sweet. And Genzo shows up, and she asks him, like, do you think she asks him, and like Nojiko, like, do you think Belmir would try to stop me from being a pirate? And Genzo's like, I don't think she would, or they say the opposite. And then Nojiko goes, but would you listen to her anyway? And then she's like, no, and she like sticks her tongue out or whatever. And it's just like I just feel like it's just Nami like finally getting closure, finally just like this whole everything is behind her now, like, and she can finally like be like, that's, I feel like the first time, like, she was doing that in the Buggy kind of arc where she was like making these faces, but this is like the first time I feel like, this is genuine, and now she is happy, and now she can be carefree, the carefree Nami.
Yeah, have you guys ever tried doing the close-eyed open mouth smile that's in like anime and manga? Like every character.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. No shit. No, that looks good.
Yeah.
It's just try Luffy.
Well, it's like I don't. It's
you look scared. You look scared.
Smile like normal.
You
just smile like normal.
You look like you'd be in Pan's Labyrinth when you do that.
Just close. Okay, can you not smile?
That's scary, dude. Okay, damn.
Dude.
But it's like, I mean, like, does that? That's just what. Like, have you ever like naturally made that expression?
I've laughed so hard I've closed my eyes, but I'm laughing, not smiling.
Yeah, but it's always like, it's like that. You're welcome. And then they do the close-eyed smile. It's never like, I get like,
yeah. I get why you don't smile. I get it.
Yeah, we get it. And I do like the dad thing where he's just like, if you ever make Nami cry, I'm gonna kill you. And Luffy's like, okay.
Well, it's even more powerful because he's like, all right, and he's like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And then Luffy's like, okay.
Yeah. He's like, here's the meat bones in his mouth.
Yeah. And it's a sweet moment, and I do get this, this whole Nami arc I really loved so much, and I can like, I don't know where Nami is in terms of like ranking with the rest of the crew, but I mean, this whole story was emotionally, it hit points and moments that I could super relate to, and I can relate to her and how she left, right? You know, and who, like she doesn't want to be there, and she doesn't want everybody to like thank her, and she doesn't want it to be this emotional goodbye, and she you know, she doesn't want everybody to I don't know, she just doesn't want to have to. She did what she did because she cares for them. She knows that they care for her. Like it makes her uncomfortable to have to sit through everybody being like, oh my God, thank you so much, blah 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 blah. Like she's just like, nope. She's like, set sail, and then she just dips.
She gets her new tattoo as well.
Her new tattoo, she gets tatted up.
Yeah, because she stabbed her
Would you get
freaking
that
arm.
one?
Like, why are you guys trying to get me to get these tattoos?
I thought you were a fan of the
I'm
series.
not that big of a super fan yet.
So get the tattoo when you become
you're
one.
not a big enough fan to get a tattoo?
Yeah. So when you become one,
Look, I'm
get
not
a tattoo.
I'm not
Oh, so it's not
put
about
any
being a fan
limit.
then.
It's
Get it.
I don't know what the push is. I don't know what this push is. Okay, but she gets a new tattoo, and it's her whole new lease on life. And you find out her sister got a tattoo when she got her Arlong tattoo to make me like, we're the same. And I was like, stop!
I like that she robbed them all.
Yeah, no, exactly. She was like, okay, bye. And he was like, my wallet, my keys.
Same old Nami, dude. And the tattoo, by the way, is a tangerine and a windmill.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it's like,
What a
like you said,
cute-
it's kind of like, you know, Belmir was a single mother, single stepmother, but Genzo was a little bit of a father figure. In a lot of ways.
Totally.
And
Totally.
as she's sailing away, there's that beautiful moment, which makes Genzo one of my favorite. Like, I don't know if he stays more of a side character, but I love him where he, you know, you realize why this man has a pinwheel in his hat. And because Nami used to cry all the time, and to get her to laugh, he put a pinwheel in his hat. And it's just like, it is just like the cutest. It's just the chef's kiss. It's just that little touch of love that makes me love this story.
I know, because Oda expects you to be like, why does this fool have a pinwheel?
I don't think
his
he does
hat?
expect you to think that because of all the absurdities.
Well, expects you to question and then complete it with a real reason why, and it just feels so satisfying.
See,
I feel like he does that a lot.
I think the opposite. I think that he has given you so many absurd character designs, fun character designs, but absurd character designs that by the time you get to Genzo, you don't even realize it. You don't even question it. So when it is important, you're like, I never would have thought. I never would have thought that thing had so much significance. And it's that caught off guardness of it that made it feel more special to me. Cody, any thoughts?
Yeah, it was.
Take a fat dump on it, dude. Go ahead. Take a fat shit on everything I just said right
now. I mean, you're dumb.
Oh.
I did. I don't think the seashell thing really helped my case. So I can't really.
I mean, it was like, you didn't know that fish were animals.
That was as
I
bad
never said
as-
fish were animals.
That was as bad as blew him to death.
No, that
The
was
wrong
good.
time.
It was
just
like
a
No,
bad
you guys
time.
looked at me like I literally
It was just at a
because
shot
wrong time.
you didn't have any of the setup.
It was like
Yeah.
3
Timing is half of
Not
it.
only
Over
is
half of
it not only
like
just
3
timing,
pages
but like
away.
yes,
So you couldn't wait.
I couldn't.
you couldn't wait to just say how something happened. So you said it before we even.
Okay, let's just blow this off.
That's a little better. Yeah.
I did like the Usopp believes he letting people think that he is a liar, and now Naomi leaves letting people oh, look at the thief. So they kind of like embrace their thing before they move on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they set sail
Mm-hmm.
and they
For adventure.
They find the bounty on
Mm-hmm.
Luffy's head, and we see the Navy HQ
Mm-hmm.
and how they've said like Buggy was worth this much, Don Krieg's bounty was worth this much. This guy and his crew defeated all these guys, so we have to make his bounty 30 million, which is unprecedented. And you just see what a huge army that the Navy has at their disposal, which I wasn't doubting.
And I got the visual joke that actually got a laugh out of me was when Usopp's explaining that yes, this ball will have all these poisons in it to blind any man that it touches, and then Luffy gets knocked into it, and you just see him like on fire in the background. That was probably my favorite joke.
That was really funny.
I like they don't give it attention, like they move on completely. You just see him suffering in the background. I really liked it, and that was
I think I did laugh out loud at that too. It was really, really funny.
I mean, like Navi has like a tangerine garden on the ship. And he's just like, Sanji's like, don't touch this. No one go near this. And she's like, thank you.
Yeah,
and he's such a simp for
queen.
Nami.
Yeah.
He's, total my queen, anything.
Yeah. Sanji's just out there, he's just trying.
I'm looking forward to his upgrade when he gets a fedora.
Nothing would upset me more. Then they head on over to how I read it in the manga. This is the worst manga translation ever, apparently. How I read it, Rouge Town.
Rouge Town. It might be
Rouge Town.
It might be Rouge Town. It might be.
In perusing the comments, we actually already got.
It's Rouge Town.
We already. I believe what this.
It's clearly Rogway.
I just want to say this. I believe that this comment and this commenter is correct, and I believe that you're right. But it also sounds as if this is like, when you watch anime in Japanese and they say something, and then it's almost like the Ray Lay situation from The Promised Neverland.
We go Lay.
Yeah. So we had a comment. I'm trying to find it where they call it someone by the name of Tom. Thank you for your comment, Tom. Said that it's actually called it's Log Town.
Oh, that's because I made a joke that it was going to be called
Let me see.
He said, I'll remind you in advance for next time. It's Log Town, as in prologue, epilogue, not Rogue Town. That's just a mistranslation from Viz.
But it's spelled
I don't know.
You know what, Cody?
I don't know what's real and what's fake.
Yeah. I give up.
I don't know what to do. I love these, and they're so cool.
Where's these resources that people are finding the true spelling of things?
Where can I buy them?
Where can I buy them? Online physical copies. They all say this, but everyone is like, that's not how it's spelled. Like, where?
Where can we find it? Please tell us, because it's driving us insane. We don't know.
I don't think ever experienced this.
We're going to go on a quest to find the true translation that everyone but us has access to.
Over 100 episodes that we've done. Over 100 episodes. Never have we had this problem.
No.
And so we'll get more into that because there's some other comments too. We'll get more into that in the comment correction
Log
corner.
Town.
Yeah, Rogue Town, Log Town.
Well, Rogue Town works.
Rogue Town, I think, is an awesome name
because it's like they're rogue.
Yeah. So I'll just keep it. I just want to say both, but whatever. So they're headed over there where Gold Roger himself was not only born but executed.
Mm-hmm.
They're sailing over there, but before they dock. We get to see Mihawk again.
Mihawk. And this shit, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because then not only that, we get to see Homeboy.
Yeah, he's there to meet Shanks. Yeah, he's there to meet Shanks. Woo! And they have a relationship. They're aware of each other. They seem to also have a respect.
They're like, we're going to celebrate.
And
he's like, what?
He's one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Mihawk is Jack, as Cody said. Jack Mihawk is one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and
still hitting.
It's
one of my favorites.
It's very funny.
Just one of the dumbest things I've said. Just episodes later.
Yeah, and so they have a relationship. So you get the sense that Shanks has always been, or has gotten even stronger, and is of great significance. And maybe even, I don't think he's one of the warlords, but maybe is even at that level.
Yeah, and he obviously knows that Luffy is in the mix now.
Yes.
And he's like, there you are.
And he's happy about it.
Oh, well, I don't know.
No, he is happy about it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He kind of looks menacing here.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, it's a date. He's like, we have to celebrate. We have to drink. And someone's like, what about your hangover? He's like, but it's Luffy. We gotta. Okay.
You didn't say Luffy.
I mean, it's not on that page.
Yeah, he says Luffy, but I don't. Yeah. I don't know what to think.
It
could switch, but he does look happy.
You're on Megan's side,
but he does look kind of menacing. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I don't know what
he's
to
a pirate.
think. Of course he's a pirate, but it says Doom. It literally spells out Doom.
Yeah, it's like because it's the reveal that it's Shanks, and he's like, and it's like Doom, like boom, like big reveal, you know.
Okay.
But then
you
later
heard
on,
Doom, but we heard Doom.
But later on, like on this page, they're like, we got to celebrate, and then they're like, well, what about your hangover? And he's like, it's a time to celebrate. I don't know why you won't look at that. You look at the Doom, but you refuse to look at the thing that's going to give my point credence.
Well, they're pirates. They like to drink. Who knows?
Anyway.
Who knows?
So they're in Log Town. They're in Rogue Town, whatever. Nami goes shopping. Sanji goes looking for food. And Zoro runs into someone that we will later find out to be Officer Tagashi. Tashigi.
Tashigi.
Which could be wrong too.
Was so happy for him because I'm like, I assume like, what a more perfect girl for him. But then he's like, it looks like my sister. Like,
it looks like
I guess never mind though.
Well, that wasn't his sister.
I was just a friend.
That's why I said he looks like her. She looks like
that other girl wasn't his sister. Kuina, the girl from his childhood.
That wasn't?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I'm starting to think you guys aren't even reading.
Okay, first of all, it's how you interpret a story. I don't know if he's happy to see them or not.
Hey,
it could be a twist where they're not friends and they fight. I don't know. I've never read the fucking story.
Touche.
But anyway,
Touché.
Yeah, she looks a lot like the little girl that died that was friends with him, and he's kind of tripping out about that. And then they have an interaction.
Maybe you could argue that they were so close. They were like,
okay.
Maybe if you interpret it differently, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah. How about this? That's just how I've interpreted it.
Right, because you're saying that like
he thought it would break off.
Well, he's saying it's like we're like I could call you a sister, I could call you a brother.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, so I'm not even wrong. First of all, I'm not wrong.
Okay. And yeah, she does look a lot like her, and it throws it for a loop.
Oh well, now that's
but
now that went back to being weird because it's like you look exactly like that girl that was probably interested in.
Well, I mean, it was this really good friend that he wants to fulfill her dying wish for her, or he wants to. They had this like rivalry. They were rivals, but I guess you could be kids, and you could, that. You maybe have a rivalry with somebody because you don't know how to express that you might have more than just those sort of feelings for them.
I mean, that's a classic school child thing.
Whether they're friends, whether they had a thing for each other, they both cared about each other, and he still cares
and
a lot
I saw
about her.
someone talking about how like, there will be fan servicey shots, and I don't know if like the scene of Naomi was supposed to be like.
It was a smidgen of fan service. It was just showing how.
There's a comment that I have
enclosed
here too for later on, but it's
over
it addresses the fan service thing, and I think it's not so much, at least this person said, and we'll get into it specifically. It's not so much the revealing shots as it is the anatomy.
And I did find that interesting too. There was another one, another comment that said like, of course, like all the guys have like interesting character designs and they're all built different, but like the girls are kind of in the same.
I think
type
that
of realm.
might be the same comment
because that was really interesting. I thought because I was like, oh yeah, because you see later a character that was one way and now is another way. You're like, okay, everyone looks the same.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But they're in this sword shop. They're in Matsu's sword shop. And we find out a lot of what I assume is going to be extremely important down the road, which is why I made very sure to note all of it. So we find out that this guy, first of all, is trying to scam him, and he realizes that his sword is very valuable. And Tashigi tells him that his sword is a Wado Ichimonji.
And I was like, I was thinking it looked like one of
It
those.
did look a little Wado.
I was thinking it was a little Wado, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so they confirmed it.
Yeah, just reconfirmed it.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a whole Wado Ishimongi,
Yeah. I was like, is that a Wado Ishimongi? Or is that, it's probably just
Is it just me?
I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then it's like, of
course. Because it's happened before where I've thought a
be?
sword is a Wado Ishima, and then you've been like, no, it's not.
You've been made a fool.
And I'm like,
of,
and I've been burned too many times.
Yeah.
I would even call it maybe the straight road of peace is what I would also maybe call it. Yeah. Which
you're more familiar with Wado Ishigamis than
absolutely.
I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll freely admit that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have one.
I have a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this sword in particular is not just any sword, but it's one of the Great 21. And so we're finding out that there's like Great 21 and their grades, and
I like that there was like the amazing, the great, there was like the amazing 12, the Great 21, and then the fine 30.
Yeah.
I just like that they have like they're There's like the OK ones.
Yeah, there's still
the OK 30 sword.
Yeah.
He has one of the OK 30s.
Yeah.
OK 30s.
Wow.
Grade
Josh?
23, grade 26, OK 30.
OK 30.
Okay. I think it's a little cooler than that. I think it's a little. I think I'm.
It says it. We got it. We
says
got it right
okay
here.
though, and
No,
all
I
the
think it
other
says-
ones
We got
are
it right
great.
here.
The
I
other
think
one
that-
said it's
okay.
I think it's
great,
some
though.
supreme grade, if anything.
No, it
No,
says
it's
like
more
the
like-
OK 30s.
No, I'm
More
a
like
supreme.
lame grade.
Yeah, now that I look closer, I don't
It
know what
does
trans.
say. I
Yeah.
don't know what
closer, now that
translation
I'm-
you had. I don't
But
know what
this is the
translation
vis-
you had.
Oh, we all have the
'cause
same
we
bad translation.
No.
This is
Oh, apparently we don't because you guys have the translation where Quina is Zoro's sister and the translation where
no, that was a
Shanks-
different one.
That
I was
was a
reading.
Where
different
Shanks
one.
That was
like
the
mad
fake
at
one I
Luffy.
read. I read a bad
We have-
translation on purpose so we can have these
so we can
conversations.
have
But
them.
this is the real one,
Uh-huh.
and it
And it
says
says-
the OK 30.
and it says
actually
okay.
says the garbage 30s.
The
now that I'm-
garbage 30s.
Now that
Oh,
I've had
we'll
a
throw that to the
chance to go
comments.
through
Oh yeah,
again.
garbage 30.
We'll
yeah,
throw that to the
can
comments
the
then.
comments just confirm that?
We'll throw it to them. Another translation that you got wrong.
Maybe we'll see here, but
I
it
think
says,
they'll
it-
agree
it
with
just-
us even if the
We'll see.
translation
Well,
is
it
wrong.
says
It's
it
just
was-
how you
yeah,
interpret
yeah.
it too.
Well, I mean-
like the way I interpreted it was garbage 30.
Yes,
Right, you guys
So-
are taking a lot of
and I'm
liberties
seeing
with
it
this.
right. Well, I'm seeing it. It says here.
Cody, you can't read, dude.
And I'm seeing it says right here.
Oh,
and
it does
do
say that.
you know what it says?
Oh.
It says garbage.
It says you're dumb.
Oh, they broke the fourth
Can
wall.
I continue?
Wait, what are we talking about? One Piece?
We also-
what I liked
Uh-huh.
was in that fight with that octopus guy,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, each of my swords weighs 650 pounds, and by now I'm like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
And then Zoro still gets through, and I'm like, if he says, well, my swords are 700 pounds, I'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
But I like that they're like, oh, these swords are like super special. I'm like, oh, so that's why they were
Yes.
able to beat those swords. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That
And
Yeah.
it makes sense that they're I mean, he's strong. He's strong. The strength of 10 men, one person. Octopuses are notoriously strong. So
Yeah, they go
Are
through. They make a point to go through and like give
they're
these
smart.
names,
Yeah,
which
they're
is why I
strong.
have to imagine that they're going to be incredibly important. So
grip.
he has the Wado Ichimonji, and then he finds the Kitetsu number 3, which is the third of its kind, and the
Mhm.
two predecessors are all cursed. This is the lowest grade, so its predecessors were excellent grade and supreme grade, and they're all cursed, meaning that anybody who wields them, they die tragic deaths.
Mhm.
And
he who lives by the cursed sword dies by the cursed sword.
Uh-huh.
yeah, and there's this moment where he's like, well, how about, because he doesn't want to sell it to him, and he's like, well, how about I test my luck versus the sword's curse?
And also, he didn't want to sell because he already named the price before they found out what it was.
well, yeah, that guy was just shady from the get-go, but then he
But
has a
then
little
he-
change of heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
He totally does a 360. He's like, you ever heard about giving someone else to live your dream through them? And I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, he really did
You
a 360.
I think he was just trying to recover from just losing that entire transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just, he's like, well, it's what it's about is about living your dream, and I don't want to get in the way of that, and
Yeah.
that's why I lost out on that.
It's a cool move. But yeah, Zoro
God.
throws the sword in the air, and it's just a really cool moment where he times it, or just, he's a master swordsman, and so either he knows the rotation of the sword by the weight of it or whatever, but it's able to the blunt end roll off his forearm.
Awesome.
Super sick, super
Awesome.
cool, and he gets the sword. But after that is, I think, one of the most fun parts of the tail end of the East Blue arc, and it's where Luffy runs into some old friends at the execution.
Which I was genuinely surprised by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I did like that there was it felt like a D&D type thing where it's like after their big mission, they go to the town and everyone
right.
everyone gets their upgrade.
Right.
Everyone just go to the barkeep and go buy this, and
Yeah.
she goes buys this. I thought it was it felt very RPG like.
Yeah.
logic.
Everybody has to stock up.
Yeah, Sanji
yeah.
gets that big old fish.
Big fish.
Yeah.
Gets a big old fish.
Big old fish.
But yeah, neither of you guys, because this is the woman who was there in all the cover pages. You knew who she was.
I didn't know who she was, but I that's the great thing about these cover pages, that it keeps you in the loop. Like when I see Kobe again, I'm not going to be like, what has he been doing? Like, you know what he's been doing. So that's what I like about that. But I had no idea that it was this person.
Yeah.
When she mentioned that, like, oh, you hit me in the face earlier, I was like, okay, well, it's either that character or it's someone in the 10 years that he trained that I
Yeah.
don't know about.
So that was around the time when you started to piece it together.
Well, as soon as you thought, like, well, it can only be two things.
Yeah.
So, but if
Unless
they're
we
trying to
weren't
do a
showing it.
reveal, then it can only be one.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they're like, you don't know who it's me. It's me, the character that has never been referenced
Yeah,
before.
I was like,
Yeah. But I remember reading it for the first time and thinking it was such a reveal. It was so fun. It was so cool. And not only is she there, but Buggy's there, and Alvida, who is this mysterious woman, and who that is revealed to be, has I guess we didn't say that.
Yeah.
Has she's also transformed because she has also ate a devil fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that devil fruit exactly?
According to Viz, it's the slip fruit.
But they're gonna be like, it's not the slip fruit. It's
it's the nip slip fruit. Yeah, because she got real hot.
Yeah, what exactly? She's like, my skin is invulnerable.
So how I piece it together, and I'm still a little unsure, so you can let us know. But that one really got Megan.
You never know.
You never know. It's a
It never feels good. It's never something that you're happy about.
Used to.
You did.
Yeah. But I see it or understand
Megan
it.
is still just
Yeah.
I'm sorry, don't cut to me.
I understand it as like friction. She and whatever she comes in contact with, she is not affected by friction. She is like things slip off, because there's a scene later where her henchmen or Buggy's henchmen like set up a ramp for her, and she's able to slide down the ramp. And once she slides down the ramp, she can keep sliding and that's why that thing was able to, like, when the stone wall went into her, nothing can, because Buggy says like nothing can scratch or pierce her. Because I imagine everything kind of just like, there's no friction. It just like, I don't know how else to say it, but it just like slides off of her.
Now my beautiful skin cannot be marred by any attack.
Yeah, but later on, it's more of an explanation.
So she ate the devil fruit, got the slip fruit, and then also she like dieted and like.
No, the fruit did that.
The fruit did that to her.
Does it just like does it do that to everyone? Where it gives you like perfect like super? Is it kind of like a super?
Well, I mean,
fruit, or like you also get baseline superhuman stuff going on.
I mean, maybe we'll find out that later. But I mean, we see someone later who's ate a devil fruit. At this point, we've seen a few, like, Captain Smoker, who we'll meet in a little bit, Buggy, Luffy. So I mean, they're all in pretty good shape, I guess, right? But I think you could probably eat a devil fruit. I think it just depends on the fruit and how it affects people. I think it could affect them all differently. But yeah, they have a really cool moment because they're on the same execution scaffold that Gold Roger was on, and I might even be saying that wrong because of Viz. But
Jolly? It's not Jolly. No, that's the ship.
That's the Jolly Roger's the flag.
The flags. So we see Kabaji and the Lion Tamer. I think. Well, I mean, it is Gold Roger in Viz, but what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
It's actually Silver Roger.
Silverado.
In this
Silverado.
In this mystery translation that we're gonna find.
Which in our next part, like, just tell us, and we'll read the right one, I guess, or a different one. But so Kabaji and the Lion Tamer show back up again, and the Lion Tamer's got a bit of an upgrade, and they all like get these like thing, like the Lion Tamer. Now the lion's hair is like handlebars and has a light on its head. We see like Buggy has this, like, he's like, throw me my engine, and it's like wheels and I guess an engine, and he just like comes apart and grabs it. He turns into a little car.
Like,
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So
was that
funny. It's so
You
funny.
could say it's a Volkswagen buggy.
That, Megan.
That is definitely something you could say.
Definitely something you could say. And I would even argue it's a great time to say it.
Mm-hmm. Not only did you say it when the setup was given, but it was good to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Just imagine if we were like, so like Zoro's at the shop, and like you could say he was a Volkswagen buggy, and you'd be like, what, you didn't think it was funny? It's like, but
Megan, we're gonna get there. But that was perfect. That was perfect.
You.
Yeah. Also, Nami can sense a storm coming. She can sense a storm brewing. So she's trying to get Usopp and everybody back to the ship. Everybody's kind of separated, but they all meet. Everybody except Luffy. And then Kabaji like lowers the execution thing onto Luffy. Luffy gets stuck. Buggy shows up and he's gonna execute him. Nami and Usopp run to the ship. Zoro and Sanji run towards Luffy. And we also meet Captain Smoker around this time, and it's revealed that girl in the shop is an Officer Tashigi, Master Chief Petty.
Mm-hmm.
And Master
Chief Petty Officer. You know who's also that?
And
who?
The Master Chief.
Oh, he's a petty officer?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd never heard the term before.
Yeah, they're the officers in charge of, doing like small spiteful things.
Really?
No,
they're petty officers.
It's a joke. It's the word petty. Casual smoker.
You don't like that at all?
I like it, but I don't like it because I was fooled by it.
Yeah, you didn't understand it.
You wanted to learn.
Like it 'cause you didn't understand it.
Yeah. I wasn't ready to laugh. I was ready to learn. And Captain Smoker, by the way,
Hot.
super hot, right?
Smoking.
Super.
Smoking.
He's smoking hot, and he has a
that
good
was the-
heart.
Yeah, it's a good heart.
Yeah,
He
when
seems
he
like
does
yeah.
that little thing with the little girl, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry you ran into my ice cream. Why don't you buy five more scoops?" And I'm like, "Oh, this man."
He seems like a guy who is also like cursed by his look or the vibe that he gives off, because the little girl's dad was like, "Oh my God, Captain Smoker, it was an accident," and he seems like he looks scary.
Yeah.
But he's trying, so he has a heart of gold. He's trying really hard to be a nice guy. And yeah, that's what that moment shows, is that he's a sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is kind of erupted into chaos. Like, Buggy is in the middle of about to execute Luffy. The scene is set, Smoker's there, but Smoker's letting the pirates kill themselves off before he starts to, capture the rest of them, which is smart. And right as Buggy's about to slice through Luffy's head, and Sanji and Zoro are running as fast as they can to get to him, the blade almost makes contact with Luffy's neck, and a giant lightning bolt comes and strikes Buggy. But right before Luffy was about to die, he cracks a smile and he says to Zoro and Sanji, "Well, guys, I'm a goner," and he smiles, and he also declares that he's going to be king of the pirates earlier, which I imagine is very symbolic as well, because I'm sure someone else did that. And Smoker is taken by what he just saw, because he's only ever seen one other person crack a smile right before his death.
Yeah. At that point, I just accepted that Luffy's not for me.
Why
I think that's definitely a thing where if you like that, it's a great moment for him, which is why I was like, the fact that it just I don't think it's bad. It just does not connect with me as him having human emotions at this point, that I'm like,
well, I want you to finish, but then I don't want to take away from what you're saying, but I want to talk through it.
Okay. It's just it was this is what I see people like about him. And I saw someone saying I'll warm up to Luffy more. And then someone commented that I probably won't. And I was like, yeah. They basically just said these just aren't the kind of protagonists I like. I was just really not only do I not expect him to die, which isn't that's in every story, that's not the flaw itself, but the fact that he's just I don't care. I'm like,
yeah, I really truly see it as, and I understand what you're saying, but I really do truly see it as that the fact that he doesn't have human emotions isn't that doesn't make him less relatable. It makes him someone that is inspiring, I guess. In those moments, he wanted to achieve this thing so much, and he was there as a result of that, and he had up until that point given it his everything, and he had fought valiantly for everything that he wanted to achieve. And so he was in that moment fulfilled, and I understand, I'm not trying to take away from what you're saying, but for me that was a really cool moment for Luffy.
Yeah, which is why that's when I just realized he just will never connect with me. But because I do recognize this as a solid moment for him, but I'm still just yeah, it's this type of character. Just
right, that's what I was gonna say. It just doesn't. It's not. Yeah. It's Luffy, yes, but it's more just these types of characters.
Yeah, which is why it's it's not even a criticism. It was just I finally realized that this is a type of character that I just don't like, which is why I like the side characters way more. It is just when I saw them underwater for so long, and it got to all this stuff, I accepted this is the rules are absurdism. Yeah, and I accept it, and this was just that moment too.
How'd you feel about that moment, Megan?
I enjoyed it. I kind of took it as him he's just laughing to himself, okay, well, there's nothing really much I can do now, so bye guys, have fun without me. I didn't really take it Like, I mean, obviously the stakes are like, I know he's not gonna die. That's what kind of sucks about it.
Yeah.
Going through these types of stories where you know these characters are so they live on for. I don't know if all of them live on, but I'm just saying, like, I know Luffy's not gonna die right here, so the stakes aren't too high for me.
Sure.
But I did think it was funny. It's in character for him. It would be out of character for him to be like, oh my god, I'm gonna die now. Like, that's just not Luffy.
Yeah. And what I do like a lot about how they explained what happened after, because where you might not connect with that kind of character, which is totally your opinion and your feelings, like I did like that moment, but where I might have been out is just the sheer amount of coincidence. However,
yeah, I mean,
they dealt with that very well by saying that it really wasn't a coincidence. It seemed, they even in universe said that it seems like there is a force, there is something or someone who's willing this person to survive and escape.
Yeah, I think because I thought like, oh, and then one of his teammates like Usopp like hit the thing with a thing to stop the thing, you know. But because it felt weird at first because like, well, no fight even really happened. He just like got put in that spot, and then he doesn't really care, and then it was just like a sheer coincidence. And but I am like, you know, 25% like, well, I assume maybe someone has the power to do that we're going to find out, or some consequence of the world is.
Well, yeah, I'm 100% sure it was like divine or something, or there's some other forces that are allowing this to happen.
Because I mean, this is in any story, but someone saying like, wow, that was a coincidence. And that doesn't change that it was, you know?
Well, no, I mean, but they're literally like, there's a lot of weird stuff happening. That's what I'm saying. Like, I love when it does seem like there are other forces at play. This is what I like. Because someone in story could say like, well, that was a coincidence, but what everybody is saying and what people who we're led to believe are extremely knowledgeable of the people and the players in this world, like Captain Smoker, are saying like something weird is happening. It was presented as a mystery there and as a tease for like forces that we A, haven't met, and B, might not even at this point understand.
And if I find out that's the case, like this issue will just go, it'll like, well, I'll rescind that. But I'm like, it just doesn't feel satisfying to me.
It could have felt that way for me too, but I think the characters, for me personally, saved it with those small moments of dialogue. But I get what you're saying too. So after all that happens, then you know they escape and they're running away, and the storm is making it really hard for everybody to like, you know, for Smoker's soldiers to capture everybody, and he captures like Buggy and Alvida in like it's called like a bullet prison or something.
Yeah, which is like a net.
It seems to be a net that like nullifies their power because they say that they are. We're just common criminals now. It's just when they're in that net, it feels like they can't use their.
Yeah, ability. And I saw he has his thing is to smoke. And I thought for a second, oh, did someone get a lame power from the devil fruit?
His power is awesome.
Yeah, it turns out to be incredibly because I mean we've talked about it, there really is no downside to eating these things.
No.
So I was like, oh, is this when we'll find out that like, oh, it's a gamble, and sometimes you could risk. Not only can you not swim anymore, but then all you can do is make a smoke screen.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll meet someone like that. I don't know, but I'm sure, I feel like we will.
Because it is just like, wow, everyone in the world is like, you can't eat those. It's not worth it. But it's like, it is.
It's worth it.
Well, yeah, and Captain Smoker, who obviously ate one, has like a cool power. Not only can he like manipulate smoke to like grab people, but he himself can turn to smoke and be punched through. Like,
baller.
Luffy is like, that is like Luffy's kryptonite in a way, because he has nothing to grab onto.
Yeah.
He's using his stretching abilities and stretching right through him. I mean, it just seems like he can't really do much. But even this is all going on, all the chaos, like Buggy and Alvida like somehow are able to escape. Captain Smoker has like Nami and Usopp are fighting the lion tamer guy, and he can't set their ship on fire because of the rain, and like everything is working into their advantage.
Yes.
Sanji and Luffy are the only ones who are kind of being kind of not winning against their opponent, who is Captain Smoker. But then they are kind of inadvertently saved by another mysterious character named Dragon. Yeah.
Dragon.
Yeah. And
it's so exciting when you meet a new character.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many. It's just like, what are you about?
Yeah, he sort of gives me a little bit of Scar vibes from Full Metal
I
Alchemist.
could see that.
Yeah,
I
just a
could
little
totally see that.
From what?
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal
Oh,
Alchemist.
okay. I don't know why in my head
What'd you hear?
that was Lion King.
I don't know.
He,
Great movie
he said
too.
Scar, and then he paused, and he said Full Metal Alchemist. And I
Maybe
was
it
like,
was
yeah.
Scar. Yeah,
You said Scar, and then I heard Lion King.
he does kind of remind me a little bit of Scar from The Lion King too.
Thank you.
And I say inadvertently saved because also we don't know anything about this character yet, and he does seem to be like on the side of like, at least in this one chapter, he seems to be on the side of like the universe or something. Like he doesn't seem to be on any one side in particular. He's on the side of the I don't know, definitely not the Navy, and sometimes I get a feeling that not even the side of the pirates. But either way, we just barely met him, and I'm sure we'll find out more about him. But everybody now is on their way to the Grand Line. Finally, everybody, they see a lighthouse, they're on the way. Buggy and Alvida are on the way. Smoker and his crew are on the way. Obviously, Tashigi wants to go with him so she can get her revenge on Zoro. They're on their way. Everybody's like putting their heels on this barrel, and they're stating like what they want as they go into the Grand Line. I want to catch all these fish. I want to create a map of the world. I want to be king of the pirates. I want to be a brave warrior. I want to be a master swordsman. And chapter 100, titled like I think "Let the Journey Begin" or "The Journey Begins," they're just setting sail into the Grand Line, and that's where the East Blue arc ends.
Dang.
Fantastic.
We did it, guys.
Why aren't you clapping? Come on. 100 chapters of One Piece.
Woo!
I do want to get to some questions or comments and corrections, but I have some questions.
I have some comments.
Do you?
I have some corrections.
You have some. Now that you guys are 100 chapters in, how do you feel versus how you felt going into it? Characters, story, all of it. Like, what are your impressions of this story 100 chapters in?
It just continues to grow on me the more I read it. Like, we got a lot of comments saying that, oh, I can't believe you guys liked the Syrup Village arc.
Yeah, I have some of those.
I can't believe you guys liked Usopp as much as you did. And that just like boggles my mind. I don't understand how you could read those chapters and just be like, this is not for me. I'm gonna drop this. Like, how does it not grab you? Like, that was honestly one of the things that made me want to and like really want to see these characters grow. Like, I mean, it's just continually. People keep saying it just gets better and better, and I totally agree with that. I could totally see this becoming a really, really good story with things I don't even know or expect yet.
Yeah, here, I mean, you do get the sense that at the end of this 100th chapter, you get the sense that like, I mean, it's called Let the Adventure Begin. Like, you get the sense that all that was like preparing you for this. Like, now, here we go. Mm-hmm. Cody, what about you?
I saw people comment about like, and I've like realized I went through this if I got into like a series I really like. And like, I forget that at the time I had like issues with it. And then if someone like also agrees, I'm like, oh yeah, I also have a problem with that. But I hear people saying that about like my issues with Luffy, of like it'll be dealt, and especially because you've said, well, when they talk about his origin, then you'll like him more, which I believe. Mm-hmm. And I'll say like, yeah, I really should have saw that at the beginning. I think all the side characters are great. I think it's mostly very well written. Mm-hmm. I am kind of like, I would probably rather watch it at this point.
Obviously I've read a little bit past this, but for me, rereading it again too, I mean, I just think it's so incredibly, as an ensemble, I think that they're so fun. I think they're kind of uncomparable, I think, to anybody else, like another team in manga. Like, they're so fun. The world is so unique, crazy in its own. It's got, to me, action. It's got heart. And I mean, reading it the second time, like, it gets kind of even better. It doesn't lose any of its enjoyment. It's a world that I love being in all the time. And I really hope that past this 100th chapter, that and I know that there are things that you really like And I hope and I'm confident, and other people have told you too, that going forward, I think you're just going to learn so much more. The world's going to get so much bigger, and the stakes are going to get so much higher, and it sort of becomes a completely different story, and what a lot of people would say a better story. It gets better and better, and so I'm glad that at least, because Cody was the one I was the most worried about. I'm glad that Cody, you at least connect with most of the characters outside of maybe Luffy, and that might change. And Megan, I'm glad that you loved it as well. And I think that it's going to be something that going forward, we're all going to end up falling even more in love with.
Now, do we want to put our feet on the table and say what we all want?
Get your feet off the table, dude.
Well, I think in honor.
Get your feet off
I think that in honor of One Piece, your favorite manga.
One of, but get your
One
feet
piece of your favorite mangas.
Don't put your feet up.
Okay, look, I'm going to take my shoes off before
No,
I
don't.
Don't,
Dude, it'd be
dude.
better with your shoe
And
on.
Don't.
No, I don't want to be disrespectful. So let's each say.
Cody, are you serious?
Let's
You want
each-
to put your feet on camera for everybody to see? You want to put your little toes on camera for everybody to see?
They're not little.
Is that what you want to do?
They're appropriate.
Yeah, they're not. They're fat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But just because that's the end of our East Blue One Piece review, we're not done with One Piece. We are going to continue. How or when we continue is or will be determined not only by you can show sort of your interest in a certain series just by liking videos. I will probably put a poll on our community page and you can vote. But with all these series like One Piece, like Berserk, like JoJo, which by the time this is out, our volume 1 JoJo review will be out. Like, we will probably end up putting them in a cycle and go through an arc of one and then go through an arc of another. The order of those is to be determined, but you can yell and scream in the comments and vote in the polls to tell us what we should get to first.
Are the easiest way for us to like look at reactions, be like, well, this has this number, this has this number. But a comment, I'll say in our minds, a comment is worth 2 upvotes.
Oh,
or
in our mind. Yeah. In our mind. So let us know whether it's through comments, whether it's through, just thumbs ups or whatever. Let us know what you'd like to see more of next. If you want to see more One Piece, we'd be more than happy to do it. But before we get out of here, I do want to address some comments. I feel like we'll have a lot of talking points that we can get through. These are some comments that you guys left on some of our previous Done Piece East Blue videos. And we're going to go through them. We're going to address them and kind of walk through them. So the first one comes from the color that this decided to print in is almost unreadable.
Yeah, you printed in eggshell white.
It's Joe Mama Joestar.
Joe Mama Joestar.
Joe Mama Joestar says, good job blackmailing me into subbing to the Patreon. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We're true pirates.
That's what, it was pirates do. Sorry.
It's a pirate's life for us.
Yo-ho.
This was the most interesting Sanji argument that I found because a lot of comments were defending sort of Sanji's choice and his moral code. But I think that this to me stood out the most. He said, about Sanji feeding a murderer, I see it as how a medical doctor would and should act to save a person's life, regardless of what kind of person you are. Then again, I'm from somewhere with a good healthcare system.
That could also be used for like lawyers who represent like the most evil people in the world, but they just have to do it because it's their job. But Sanji is a cook, so that's his job.
Criminals do get medical treatment, but they're then like put under supervision. They're not like, and you can just go do whatever.
Well, not all the time.
No, but I mean, yeah, someone has to try.
Like
to
if
save
someone
them.
came in off the like what he's saying is it's not a doctor's job to judge somebody off the street. Like a doctor, I don't think would even arrest anybody. Like if or like citizen's arrest or whatever. Like it's not their job to judge who comes through their door. Someone's got a broken arm. Someone's got a gash. They fix it.
I would say yes, but there is a huge difference between a doctor and a guy who's the server but wants to be the cook.
No, he is a cook. He's not a server.
Why does he do the servant stuff?
Because he likes to flirt with the girls.
Because he gets on. But he is a cook. He is one of the cooks.
I would assume so.
I mean, he does get out there to flirt with some of the girls.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, and he also does serve. I mean, he kind of does it all, but he is like a chef for sure.
Okay. Well, there's still a huge difference between a doctor like, oh, this surgery needs to happen versus like, well, we can tie him up and put him in a room before we feed him.
But But again, then you're judging. Then you're judging.
Yes.
But you're saying that cooks should judge people and doctors shouldn't.
Well, when they've announced that, like, everyone's like, everyone knows too that this guy has killed hundreds of people. We'll do it again. And instead of like, well, let's put like a rope around his arms.
I mean, look, Cody, it's not their job.
Because look, food is one of the most basic things about life, right? This isn't a thing where anyone has like more like insight on, right? Like everyone needs to eat food.
Everybody,
we all get that, right?
Yeah.
Well, except you. You eat mostly gummy bears.
Cheese, yeah.
Yeah, cheese and gummy bears.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put this on me.
Go ahead, Cody.
Sanji did what?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep spewing your Sanji hate speech.
Sanji sewage.
It's not. I don't think it's the same as like a doctor like doing like an actual oath they take. It's not even.
It's an oath you take as a cook.
Well, he
has a note that he follows.
He has
give
a code.
Food away for free.
He has a code, and he was also someone who is a victim of starvation.
Yeah, a lot of people have experienced.
Not like to the extent that he has, and I think that a lot of people in that restaurant hadn't. And so I think that...
Which was it, the 10 that were shot and killed when they said, he's going to shoot and kill us?
Look, Cody.
Was it one of them?
Like he said, dude, they're just a bunch of hungry people, but the moment they eat, they're free game. And I paraphrased a little bit. But
I think free game is...
I think that was a translation issue.
It was a translation issue. But I all jokes aside, I get what you're saying. But I think that it's just fun to argue with you. And number two is... I think that this comment, there was a lot of Sanji comments, but I think this comment really like contextualized it for me, and I think has like the strongest defense.
There was one that I liked where they were saying that like obviously, maybe speaking on my defense here, but like I'm not saying it's as simple as like he was wrong morally because of the result, but it is just like if he was a doctor, I would not have an issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
If he was like, it's
just because I think you respect doctors more than you respect cooks, dude. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Dude.
That is fucked up.
That's just your whole rigmarole is just say it, dude. You don't respect cooks.
You want me to say it?
I want you to say it.
I think doctors are more important than cooks.
Wow.
Fuck, dude.
I hope you're ready for the hate comments, dude, because they're coming.
Well, the many doctors that listen to this podcast will jump into my defense here.
I hope so, dude, for your sake, because you're going to need them after they get to you.
Oh, that's good. That's
good. Okay, this is a translation error thing, and there's a lot of them. And again, a lot of these comments were, like, a lot of people were, filling us in and letting us know the same things, but I just picked a few for the sake of not being redundant. But this one comes from Wano Psycho. Red shoes, ? It's supposed to be red legs, Zev. They butchered this alias so bad.
I think they're referring to the translation.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be red legs, Zeph. In the manga, it's red shoes, Zeph. In the Viz. And the Viz is apparently bad for many things, but don't come at me. But I think red shoes makes way more sense.
He kicks so hard, his shoes are covered in blood.
Yeah.
But it would make sense because his leg is gone and be red because of the blood would be.
Well, maybe
he had the name first.
Yeah, he got the name first. And that's what I was going to say. Maybe he could have been called Red Shoe Zeph. And then once he lost his leg, he could be called Red Leg Zeph.
And it could be a play on peg leg.
I think, because a lot of other comments were saying like Red Shoes is such a bad name. And I'm like, that's kind of a badass name, dude. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's just this is just what we read. We are given this information from what we thought was the source material, but obviously is not.
Everyone in the world has access to the correct translation, except for us, when we all went to like different resources to read this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just going based off of that. Sorry, guys.
But I think Red Shoes is cool, and I'm sorry. But
all we could say is like, well, sorry.
This one comes from, hey, God knows who this one comes from. It comes from God knows.
Oh.
Belle-Mère is French for mother-in-law and for stepmother in replacement for the word meurtrier. I can't speak French. I am so sorry. That has gotten the meaning of cruel mother over time due to the stereotype that many stepmothers are mean to their stepchildren. And literally means beautiful mother. However, Her gravestone after the time skip spells her name as Belmere.
Josh, why did you pick that comment?
As someone with a lot of experience, dude, with stepmothers, step monsters, if you will.
Oh yeah.
You know, I have really never had a problem with how they've been portrayed in media. If anything, they've been already portrayed a little too nice in media. However, Belmere is an exception. And as far as stepmoms go, she is what all stepmoms should aspire to be. As a matter of fact, you know, maybe I'll give my stepmom a couple copies of this manga.
Yeah, you should read up to volume 10
and then think
of One Piece.
And then
just think about yourself a little bit.
Just think
sit
about
on
the things
it.
you've done.
Yeah, just sit on it, stew on it.
Sit on it, spin on it, you know what I mean? Just really process it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just for one listener. This is from 17 Klopp. Love 17
something
Klopp.
about the seagulls in here.
Klopp.
I know. He
It's
said,
One Piece. I can't. What are we gonna do?
he said, fun fact, the 7 warlords are all named or themed around animals.
Oh.
And that gives me a little Hunter x Hunter kind of vibe, you know what I mean? I love councils, I love teams, and I never got to the point where we met the council. So I can't wait to see what they're all about. I love it. I'm a sucker. This comes from Suresi? Sorry. I'm just going to keep saying sorry. At the end of the day, the crew is a crew of pirates, Cody. It doesn't say Cody. I added Cody.
No, we know.
A lot of them are directed to Cody.
We know.
Which is not nearly as hateful as I thought. Well,
no, everybody, by the way, was super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm even there were a couple that were maybe a little rude, but they were very few and far between. And I'm playing this person's comment up. I don't think they were actually upset.
Anyway, that 4-eyed loser.
There was only like 2 of those.
There was one that I don't know if it was supposed to be an insult, but
there was one that was for sure.
Oh, there were 2 that were for sure insults.
Yeah.
But there was one where it was like they said the Jeff Goldblum looking guy.
Yeah.
And everyone I told that to was like, oh, that's like great. I'm like, oh, because I took it as an insult.
It's a compliment.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there were other comments that called you a bitch, dude.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot
There's
of
2
them.
of them, Megan.
They said bitch, so we knew exactly who they were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, they also said Cody is. So at least they know who I am.
But it was only 2, and you know, Cody's not a bitch, okay?
Just something that really you wake up in the morning, like, let me read the comments.
Whoa!
All right, I'm just gonna have that in my head. I'll just not read comments for a little bit.
But this commenter again said, at the end of the day, the crew is a crew of pirates. They all do morally ambiguous things along the story. They are not savage criminals, but they're not just good people either. I feel like a lot of the fan base overlooks the bad stuff the crew does and just have this image of them as heroes and nothing else because of the good things that they do overall. So I think it's important to remember that they are, you know.
This
pirates.
is also the weird because like I have a friend who's like deep into manga. He was the one who told me about Goblin Slayer, Berserk, like One Piece. He's caught up on like everything. And if I'm like, I thought that scene with Sanji was a little weird, he'll just be like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know why that's controversial.
Well, I mean, I think what's cool about this is like I've seen some really good points made for things that maybe. You know,
well, that's not what that one was doing. That was like more into how like if you criticize anything that's liked.
Yeah, right.
So it's like weird because I know like if I get told like, oh, you check out this classic series, I read a little bit of it. I thought that part was weird.
Yeah,
it's not.
Well, I think that this is
that is one of the nicest one. This one is
super nice, and I think it like creates a dialogue, and I think a lot of these like did help me. I already loved the series, but it did help me understand it more and see parts of it a little more clear. And I think this one might make you maybe understand Luffy a little bit more. I found this one fascinating. It comes from Josh Dugina. Luffy is the type of character you get to know over time through his actions and true motivations. The mangaka Oda also revealed that he doesn't give Luffy an internal monologue because he is a man of action, which is interesting. So going back, you realize that Sanji, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, they'll all have internal monologue. Luffy apparently never does because he's a man of action, not a man of thought, I guess, which isn't a bad thing.
No. But it makes sense. He's all motivated by actions rather than talking, just like how he.
But he doesn't want to talk. He has no time for it, which is also why he doesn't want to hear anything about Nami's backstory.
Exactly.
He's like, this is not important to me.
Exactly.
My friend needs help and I'm going to help her. He is someone who does, through his actions, reveal his true motivations. A lot of people are talkers. He's a doer. How does that make you feel, Cody?
I mean, yeah.
I'll keep trying.
Again, I said like I've just accepted he's not for me.
And I'm going to try to, flip that on you.
Yeah. Flip me over.
I'm trying. This one comes from Solar Arrow. This is a really interesting one too. I didn't see anyone mention this, so I thought I'd add it. Fry's dog in Futurama, and I believe the dog's name Chow Chow in One Piece are
nothing happens to the dog in Futurama, by the way.
Yeah, are referring to the actual dog Hachiko from Japan.
Oh yeah.
That's why they're similar. They have the same inspiration. So basically in 1924, there was a professor at the Tokyo University who brought him to live in Shibuya, Tokyo as his pet. Hachiko would meet him at the station every day after his commute home. This continued until May 21, 1925, when he died of a cerebral hemorrhage while at work. From then until his death on March 8, 1935, Hachiko would return to Shibuya Station every day to await his return. It was based off a real story, which I didn't know.
There's a statue of him.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. This little dog, and I'm like,
I had no idea. Just thought, okay, when's Tim the Toolman Taylor here, dude? Jesus Christ. This one comes from Chris Martin. It's crazy.
Chris Martin?
These are a lot of the same theme comments too. That I picked this one because there are a lot of other people saying similar things. It's crazy that y'all love Syrup Village. I can tell y'all right now, OP community and just in general, people don't like that arc. Glad y'all love Usopp because he usually has to grow on people, but since y'all already like him, he definitely will only get better.
And he's definitely the highlight of the crew to me.
I heard that he does. I think you said it. He does something later on, or maybe my cousin said it.
No, he does have a crazy moment.
He does have a crazy moment. That's why maybe people don't like him as much. But I can't even wrap my head around how that would have been a bad arc or how people wouldn't like it.
It was awesome.
It's kind of like we talked about the Black Swordsman and just skip it. It's not that important. Like that whole thing, I can't understand it. I don't know. It's weird.
Super weird.
Well, this like with one of those comments talking about how there were a couple that's like, oh yeah, we all were like iffy on Luffy when it first started. But I do think it's because the One Piece fan base is basically on volume 100.
Mm-hmm.
So like
past that, really.
So in retrospect, how much of it does become like, yeah, that story wasn't good compared to this, and like, oh, if later on you don't like that character, you view them in that lens already. So like if someone is going back, you'd be like, well, they're not a good character.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I was thrown off by the whole Syrup Village Usopp thing too, because he was a character that I, really liked right away. And even in the Arlong Park, arc, when he had his interaction with Nami, and then when he had his interaction with the suckerfish, I thought, he had a lot of really cool moments, and he's a really fun, funny, realistic character that you can sort of like kind of put yourself in a little bit, because you can relate to him more than you can relate to, kicking someone through a wall, But a lot of those comments, a lot of people were saying that, and we love Usopp and we're here for him. There's just two more. This is from Dawn Mayo. One of you spoke about there are a lot of characters in One Piece. That's pretty accurate. On May 5th, 2021, when the Global Character Top 100 contest was revealed, at the time, there were 1,174 named characters in One Piece. So that's how many characters we got to keep track of.
Okay. Megan, do you have those written down?
I think I do.
How many? Well, we haven't got to all of them yet, but you should have at least like a couple hundred written down. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a list somewhere.
Okay. Wow.
We'll just, because we'll have to like use that for reference.
Yeah.
You could do like the Pokemon rap, the One Piece rap, and say all the names.
Dude, if we do that, I bet people would.
Love it or hate it?
They would at least watch it.
That's all we care about.
It's like, Luffy, Usopp,
and Luffy again.
Luffy.
Usopp.
Sad Luffy. You start naming their names and emotions. Yeah. Funny Usopp.
Naomi with a different tattoo.
Mad Usopp. Oh, Naomi with a different tattoo.
Wow. Wow. I was gonna pitch a couple, but we got another one from.
Yeah, you didn't.
This is the last one. It's from 17 Clop again, but this was super interesting too, and I think it really kind of contextualizes sort of like the pirates and their moral code just in general. He says also it was removed from the final draft of One Piece, but in earlier versions there were actually two types of pirates: the Morganeers and the Peacemen, or the Peacemain Morganeers. They're typically
the Pissmen.
Well, they are typically pirates. So there's one kind that typically pillage and plunder, and then there's the other kind that don't hurt people and just value the concept of adventure. The real crime of piracy in One Piece is declaring that you're not part of the world government. So really it's just that like, yeah, if you're not a part of the world government, you're kind of like not necessarily a pirate, but you are sort of an outlaw for sure. And the world government is the Navy, or a branch of it at least. And so I just thought this was interesting too, because, you know, we look at pirates and how they're typically portrayed, and maybe it might be hard for not everybody, but newcomers to the series to see like, oh, how are these guys pirates? They seem like heroes. But again, which is why I picked a couple saying that they aren't just good people. They're morally good people, but they're not perfect. And they more exist for the thrill of the adventure than they do for actual like plundering and all that, even though Nami partakes from time to time.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's like, I only stole from pirates, and she just stole from her whole village.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
And I was like, oh well, I mean, they have a lot of money now, so it's not like
maybe it
20
brings to mind a character from this book where
we're out of time.
Was a former thief. And he's trying to change leaves, so he still steals things, but he always replaces it with something else, and he says, I just made a trade.
Kind of like
that's still theft, but okay.
It's a trade.
Who does that?
It's theft.
It's a trade.
I don't want whatever you leave behind, dude. I want my thing. You stole my thing.
Robin Hood.
It was a trade, and you
did I agree to it?
It was traded.
No, I didn't agree to it. It's theft. It's theft with a gift.
It was no. I mean, no, it's not.
You just said yes.
No, that was about another conversation. I was just thinking about another conversation.
Well, that's gonna do it for our East Blue volume done. We did it, guys.
Yay!
3 parts, volumes 1 through 100. We made it to the very end. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Thank you, all of our new subscribers, all of our new Patreon members. Thank you for joining us on this journey. And speaking of our beautiful, amazing, wonderful, devil fruit eating, beautiful, strong, help me guys.
Shark teeth regenerating.
They really do regenerate me in a lot of ways. Our Patreon members.
All of them who eat in the slip fruit. Beautiful they are.
Because they are so. Thank you. I was worried about where that was going.
They can't be touched by anyone else.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that seems a little.
Oh, I didn't.
I was just doing the slip fruit.
Right.
Oh, Josh, that's the fruit that we ate.
Yes, because no one can get their hands on us.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Right.
Because they don't want.
These people, our wonderful, beautiful Patreon members, are the absolute best. Thank you guys for your support.
Love you
It
guys.
means the world to us. Yes. We cannot thank you enough.
Daisuke Day.
Daisuke Day.
Thank you to everybody who shows your support, even if it's being a part of the algorithm gang. By liking, commenting, subscribing, anything that you can do. Even if it's just watching, even if it's just listening, we really do appreciate you. Thank you so much from the bottom of all of our hearts.
Thank you.
As far as more One Piece goes, like we said earlier in the episode, let us know. Let us know by voting, upvoting this video. Let us know by voting in the poll on the community tab. Let us know by letting us know in the comments. And we will get around to it. And if you're wondering about Berserk, we will get around to that too. We're really racking our brains and working to figure out a system to get to them all. Yeah.
If we could do 5 videos a week.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't feel like we have to just give more time to let Father Time decide.
Yeah. So we are working on figuring out a new plan to get to more series and get to more volume dones. And so thank you so much. The only thing left to do now. And if you want to become a Patreon member, by the way, I almost forgot to say, you could do it by going to patreon.com/volume1pod, early access to episodes, stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
Each person gives us one step closer to being able to do definitely as
more
many
episodes
videos as we want.
Yes. Patreon, you get access to a Patreon exclusive bonus podcast.
Where we just talk about whatever. You get to know us.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's even better than this.
Okay, well, let's not get a little crazy. But yeah, patreon.com/volume1pod. The only thing now to do is to get out of here on our outro that's always the same and never changes, which today, Megan, I know you got one. I know it's our finale. I know you've been planning, and I know you're going to blow us all away. Megan, hit us with the outro that's always the same and never changes.
We love you, Arlong Time.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Me love you, Arlong Time?
Say we love you.
I thought that was what you said.
That's why he said we, because we love them. Arlong time, but I'm just ballparking here. That was that was off the dome.
I mean, we could do it. I mean, I support you.
I just thought it was. You guys.
I support
you. I thought it was funny.
I'm for it. I'm waiting until we can do it.
Okay.
First of all, we do it every time.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any?
We love you, Arlong time.
Do you guys have any?
No, not at all.
Why are you guys so mean?
We're doing what you want to do.
We're like, let's do it. And you're like, why? Why are we doing it?
You guys seem so standoffish.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time,
fish.
We love you, Arlong time. Yeah. We love you,
You guys are so standoffish.
Oh, standoffish.
That's what I said.
It was good. That was good.
Did you say standoffish?
Yes, I said standoffish.
Oh, and Finn, like Finito.
Finito, Finn, bye.